This is Mega Mike the Movie Man back with part 2 of my top 10 MCU movie ranking list of all time. These are my favorite MCU films. I'm going to be going through number 5 to number 1 in this part 2. So if you want to see my number 1 spot, you got to stick around to the very end to see my number 1 choice, my number 1 favorite MCU film of all time. So first, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let's get started. Number 5.
What happened over there?
I had my eyes open.
I want to protect the people I put in harm's way.
At my number 5 spot is going to be Iron Man 1. Yes, the original MCU movie still holds up to this day. It is excellent. Just that down-to-earth story of Tony Stark basically realizing what his company has been doing has been wrong, and so he has to make a change, and just how he starts off at the beginning of the movie and that he gets captured and has to build his own armor out of materials he finds in a cave, then eventually you just see him grow and develop and improve his armor over time and tries to start doing the right thing, and just getting up to that final showdown is excellent. And Robert Downey Jr. plays Iron Man perfectly. That was a perfect casting choice. Robert Downey Jr. was born to play that role. You cannot have Iron Man without him. He just kind of has a snarky type of arrogant attitude that he's kind of all that. But in this movie, you see he does get humbled at certain parts, but he still has that DNA of Tony Stark and Iron Man. And it is just excellent. Great action set pieces. It's not a world-ending movie, but it's a great heartfelt story with Tony Stark as Iron Man. Number 4.
Now I know what you're thinking. How did this happen? Well, it's a long story.
At my number 4 spot is going to be Thor Ragnarok. Yes, I even have the physical copy of this one right here. Oh yeah, Thor Ragnarok is a great buddy cop superhero feel of a movie. You got Thor paired up with the Incredible Hulk. It is great to see their two dynamics and just kind of play off each other, and they are so great together. This movie does a perfect job of combining action and comedic elements. A lot of the times you're going to be laughing out loud, and then just the action set pieces with the music, and it gets so epic. It is such a fun ride of a movie. And then all the supporting characters are great as well. Valkyrie is excellent. Grandmaster is so funny. It's great to see Jeff Goldblum in this movie as well. I mean, you cannot go wrong with this movie at all. From beginning to end, you are just enjoying, excited by the action, or laughing out loud. This movie is the Thor movie we needed, especially after Dark World. This one just revitalizes the franchise of Thor, and you just want to see more of these Thor films now. So I'm super excited. You can tell, directed by Taika Waititi, just makes this difference in the movie. You can see that he just knows how to direct a film to make it entertaining to as many people as possible. So that's why I had to put this one so high up on. Number 3.
You just don't know when to give up, do ya?
I could do this all day.
Next at my number 3 spot is going to be Captain America, the First Avenger. Yes, the first Captain America movie. I even have this steelbook right here. Very nice. This movie is another gem of a movie. It is the best origin story for any MCU character, in my opinion. They just do a great job of allowing you to connect to Steve Rogers and what he's going through, and it shows the heart of the character, that even though he's weak and scrawny, that he has the heart and he wants to do the right thing. He wants to fight for his country. He just doesn't have the muscles yet, but he has the heart and the passion for it. And then he just gets the super soldier serum, and then he has the muscles to go along with the heart. And there's some great lines of dialogue in this movie, how he talks about that they chose Steve Rogers because a person that has known power all their life is not going to be able to deal with this extra power of the super soldier serum. But someone that has been weak their life is going to know the value of this power that they're being granted. And so it's just a great origin story with that. And then throughout the movie, you got some great action set pieces. You care about the other characters that are connecting with Steve Rogers, like Peggy Carter, and you're interested in their romance and what's going on with that. And then you just get to see Steve Rogers step up as Captain America and really make a difference in this war. And it's just so well done. And then, even though the ending of the movie is very tragic, you see how it connects to the first Avengers movie, so it gives you excitement for that movie as well. So overall, like I said, I think this is a perfect origin story for a superhero character, and that's why it had to be so high up on this list. Number two.
The entire time I knew him, he only ever had one goal: to wipe out half the universe. If he gets all the Infinity Stones, he can do it with the snap of his fingers.
So at my number two spot is going to be Avengers Infinity War. And yes, I even have the Steelbook right here, which is fantastic. Now, this movie is so great because it introduces us to the best MCU villain of all time. Thanos, played by Josh Brolin, is such a great, compelling character. You get to see his backstory, and you see that what he is doing, he thinks is right and the correct thing to do. But even though we know he's still the villain and doing things incorrectly and he shouldn't be doing those things, we still see the depths and layers to his overall character, which just makes him all around more interesting villain. So he really carries this movie with all of scenes of dialogue, and then his gauntlet and all the Infinity Stones within it and all the powers he gets to use. It's just some great sequences within the movie. And then all the MCU heroes as well, how they pair up and put in different groups of MCU characters, all work really well. Thor with Rocket Raccoon has some great moments. And then you also have Captain America with Black Panther, Black Widow, Wanda, and Vision going on with things in Wakanda. That makes for some great action set pieces. And then you also have Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Spider Man, and the other Guardians of the Galaxy characters like Star Lord. What they're doing is compelling as well. So you have all these different branches of stories going on at the same time, but they're all very interesting. They're all different, but they all connect to the overall story. So this movie is like a roller coaster ride from beginning to end. It never stops. It's always exciting. So even though it's a really long movie, it doesn't feel that long of a movie because you're always interested, staring at the screen, seeing what's going on. How's this one going to end? And we know this one ends very tragically. This is like the Empire Strikes Back of the adventure movies. Very tragic ending. The villain ends up winning, but still, this story is so compelling, gets you connected to it. And like I said, I can rewatch this movie tons of times. It is never boring, it is always exciting. Some of the most heartfelt moments out of MCU story history, some of the best action sequences out of any MCU film. I mean, this movie is just getting it all correct. So that's why it's this high up on the list. And drum roll, please. And at number one.
But he's my friend. So was I.
And then at my number one spot, yes, my number one favorite MCU film of all time is going to be Captain America Civil War. Yes, the third installment in the Captain America series. This one I even got the steelbook for. Oh, that is excellent. This movie is the best MCU movie, and I'm going to tell you why. It is so fantastic to see these different dynamics between these characters where there's two different sides, and it's very political, and there's no one correct side, there's no one wrong side. It's just really you have to choose a side, and there's no best choice. And you can see the different characters and their different motivations and what they've gone through play the part of what helps them choose a side. And then you just have these two different conflicting ideologies and these group of characters that are going against each other. So you can see, hey, I understand where Iron Man's coming from. Oh, I understand where Captain America's coming from. But you gotta pick a side. I personally go with Captain America's side, but it is a tough choice, and it's a choice I always think about when I watch this movie. So a movie that gets you thinking this much, wow, it is fantastic. And not only that, I think the villain does a good job in this movie of playing his villainous role. So even though he's not a big, strong, intimidating villain, he's a villain that has planned this out, that has came up with the strategy of having these characters fight each other because he knows just based on himself alone he can't take out these characters. He can't take out these heroes that he doesn't see as heroes that are causing a lot of issues. He knows he can't defeat them, but instead he comes up with a plan where they have to fight each other in the hope that empire crumbles from within inside. And that is such a unique, different strategy to go in with a villain in this kind of story, and it is just done so well. So, such a compelling story. It's kind of unraveling some mysterious elements as you go throughout it, and also has, to me, the best action set piece out of any MCU film. The airport action sequence is so fantastic to see all the characters having their different banter and different powers being used, and it's just like you don't know who to root for exactly because they're all heroes, and it's just a civil war among heroes. That's what makes this story so compelling. And then when you get to that final fight against Captain America and Iron Man, and them talking about how, they used to be friends and thought they were friends, but they just have these two conflicting ideologies and things in the past where they have to now fight each other for things they cared about protecting, and just to see them clash, and it's such an intense fight sequence with the Winter Soldier, Captain America, and Iron Man. And it's like, once again, you don't really know who to root for, and you just see it tragically playing out, but it's just done so well and so compelling. And so, just all around, this is the most entertaining MCU film, in my opinion. It's the film that gets you thinking the most. It's the film that you can keep going back to and then have different thoughts about what characters are right afterwards. So by being the most compelling MCU story, that's why I had to put it number one as my favorite MCU film of all time. In my opinion, this is the best MCU film, Captain America Civil War. So that will do it for my top 10 MCU films of all time. Yes, my top 10 favorite ranking list of MCU films. Make sure you leave your list in the comments below. Let me know, what are your top 10 favorite MCU movies of all time. Want to see everybody that watched this video put their list in the comments below. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe to the channel and also like the video. And that will do it for today's movie ranking. So this is Mega Mike, the movie man, out here reminding you to make every day a movie.